Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We just got the dozer here. All the other machines are going to be coming soon. It's a beautiful evening and we are going to be starting on a big pond project. You can kind of see the land we got here. This is what we're going to be working with. I marked it out with some orange flags, just roughed it in. There's a pretty busy road right here, so we're going to have to deal with that. Not a big issue, but we're going to have the dozer here. We're going to have the excavator here, the skid steer, whatever else we may need. We're going to get started on this project. I'm excited. It's a big pond. We're going to start out by stripping topsoil, and then we'll keyway and do all the fun stuff, build the dike. You know, it's going to be out in here. It's tough to tell on camera, but it's going to go from where that fence is to just past this ditch that's over here. There's kind of a berm over there. It's going to go to there. And water will probably roughly come to where I'm standing right now. So you got this beautiful view up here from the road, house over there. So we're gonna hop on the dozer, get that thing started up and strip some topsoil. All right, we got all the topsoil stripped. As you can see, we got a berm all the way around the pond. You know, when we're done with the pond, we can push all this topsoil back around it, grade it out, grow grass. So the stage we're at now, we're actually gonna start to form the dike. You know, we're gonna have both dozers running. You know, we're just gonna shove all this, and I got kind of an outline here all the way around. give me a rough idea what we're working with. We're just gonna start to build that up a little bit. We get that built up a little, and I'm gonna go through the excavator and keyway all the way around. So let's get started on that. All right, so the keyway is dug all the way around the pond. You can see my trench and my berm all the way around to over there and to right here. That keyway, basically what you're gonna do with that is you're gonna excavate a trench all the way where you have a dike. And I go down about 5 to 6 feet. This is about 5 to 6 feet. Dig it down, throw all that clay, make sure it's good clay that you're pulling out. If you pull anything that's not good clay out, you're gonna throw that over here. If it's good clay, you're gonna wanna backfill that back into this trench. So once you get this all excavated out, you're gonna backfill all that clay back in there and pack it down with your tracks. Get it real packed. And all that keyway does is it protects any water from potentially leaking underneath your dike of the pond. You know, if you don't do it, a lot of times you can get away with it, but you know, you would never know if you didn't keyway and you had a leak, you would never know. You'd battle with leaks and there'd be no way knowing where it is. It could potentially be under your dike. So we do this on every pond. It's a really good thing to do. It's guaranteed not to leak under the dike if you do this. And we just do it all the way around. Anywhere there's a dike, we put this keyway in. So we're gonna go through now, shove all this dirt back into the trench, pack it down, and then we can get started on really building this dike up. You can see we got a little bit of it started here right now. We're going to continue, get all this material shoved in here. So that's going to be a majority of the pond is doing that. So let's get started on that. Okay, so we got a huge portion of the dike pushed up. Not much more pushing to do for the dike. Right now we're actually going to get started on, we're doing an island and we have a peninsula here. As we're digging the pond out, we've kind of kept these areas, we haven't dug down as much where we knew the island was going to be and the peninsula. We still strip it down, get it into really good ground. We find the best way to build these is to don't leave them from the beginning, but do a lot of pushing and then kind of start to form them as you're doing that. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. And I'll walk you over here to show you this peninsula. The edge of the pond is kind of right in here. This peninsula, and the sun's gonna probably be in the lens, but this peninsula, you're gonna come out, it kind of turns, points this direction. So that's the peninsula. The island is over here. You can see it, he's working on it. That's the dike over there and the island. Better look at this peninsula, kind of curves and comes in here. There'll be water in here, a bunch of water here, and a bunch of water here. So we got to build this up about 2 to 3 feet. We need to build this up, taper the sides in. Same with the island. So I'm gonna hop on either the dozer or the X, I'm not sure yet, and we'll start building both these up. Okay, so we got the island and the peninsula. They're roughed in. You can see we got them above water level, about a foot or two. And then once we figure out our exact water, we'll go over, hit the tops, make them nice. I actually track the sides just to pack them in. But those are gonna get fine-tuned again to make them real nice. The next thing we're gonna do, you can see we got this dike lined with dirt all the way around. This is more than enough dirt we need on top of this dike, so I'm gonna go through and grade this out, put a couple paint marks down, and get our exact level all the way around this dike, get it within an inch or two all the way around. And then we'll start doing finish work, and then we'll be doing topsoil. There was a change of plans. We're actually gonna be putting a retention pond or a sediment pond above this pond. There's actually a drainage ditch that comes in, and we're just gonna put that there just so no dirt washes into this pond and causes issues. So we're gonna get up on this dike. He's picking up some big rocks right now that he found. We're gonna get up on this dike, grade this out, and do a real nice job. So let's get started. Okay, so we got the entire inside of the pond tracked in and packed. It's looking very nice. The island's packed, everything's packed. We're actually done going on the inside of this pond. We might do a little work on the island, I'm not sure exactly when, but overall we're ready for rain. If we get the rainstorm and this thing starts to fill up, it's not a big deal, we're ready for that. So the next step, we're actually gonna start pushing topsoil up. That original berm of topsoil we had all the way around, we're gonna start feeding that up on the dike, get that graded out, and that's the next step of this process, so let's get started. We're also gonna take a bunch of this topsoil up here and spread that out over this peninsula and this island and all this topside. All this topsoil here is gonna go onto all this on the higher side of the pond here. So we got a bunch of rocks, big rocks. Some of them we pulled out of this pond and some of them we brought in, but we're gonna be putting these two out on the peninsula, and we're gonna put all these, well, not all these, some of these are gonna be for the riprap channel, but we're gonna put a couple of these out on the island. They're pretty heavy, so we're probably gonna use the excavator, especially these two. So we're gonna get these out on there. Just a little decoration, break things up, and they should look pretty cool out there. So the main pond is done. The island is done. We got rocks out on there. The peninsula is done. There's rocks there. We tracked around the whole thing, tracked and packed the topsoil. It looks really nice. The inside is all tracked in. We didn't track right where I'm standing because we're actually doing that sediment pond up here. So I don't want to waste my time and then push dirt over this and have to do it again anyways. But so this main pond is done. It's about an acre, maybe a little more than an acre. The overflow system is the only thing we haven't done. We're actually gonna wait for that. We're gonna let things settle, let the grass grow, and then install that at a later date. But this pond is done. It looks beautiful, it really does. At the end of the video, I'll kind of do a little montage, show you guys how it turned out. But for now, we're gonna get started on this little sediment pond, and it's gonna be located right up in here, somewhere in here. It's not going to be very big. It's just going to be 20 feet wide by 50 feet long, maybe even smaller, just to catch any sediment from the ditch that comes across the road. And to connect this sediment pond to the main pond, we're going to have a riprap channel that will just look pretty. It'll be nice and it'll be super effective, and we're going to do that also today. So I'm going to hop on the dozer, start stripping topsoil, and then we'll get started building this pond. All right, so the sediment pond is complete. The riprap channel connecting the sediment pond to the main pond is also done. This project is officially done. We have everything graded out, leveled, topsoil is packed. The dikes are all within an inch or two all the way around. This riprap channel is looking very nice, as you can see. We put some rocks around that inlet culvert that fills the ponds. Both the island and the peninsula are done. Rocks are on them, topsoil is graded out. This project turned out really nice, guys. This is awesome. This is probably about an 1.5 acres of water between both ponds. We are gonna do an overflow in this pond. We're just not gonna do that quite yet. We'll let things settle out and do their thing. But overall, this turned out really, really nice, guys. And I'm gonna do a little montage at the end of this video so you guys get a real good look at what we did here. But overall, this couldn't have gone any better. It took us about 10 days to do this, and I'm very, very happy with the product. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I will do an update when this is filled with water so you guys can see how it looks filled with water. But once again, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.